What is up, guys? This is Cache Freak Tim from cachefreak.com, and today we are talking about going paperless with the Garmin Nuvi GPS. You know, the Garmin Nuvis are among the most popular GPS units on the market today. They're fantastic for driving, but unfortunately, they're not so good for geocaching. One of the primary reasons for this is the units do not have a native way to get all of your paperless data onto the GPS. Well, today I'm going to show you a trick that's going to allow you to get all of your paperless info onto your Garmin Nuvi. So let's get started. Alright, now to do this you're going to need a couple things. First thing I want you guys to do is download the Garmin POI loader. You can get that from garmin.com/products/POI loader. Download it, install that to your machine. Second thing you guys are going to need is going to be GSAC, the Geocaching Swiss Army Knife. If you don't have this on your machine already, download it, install it. They have a trial version that'll allow you to use it for some time before you start getting nag screens. So go ahead, download it, install it. There's nothing you have to pay up front right now. And then the next thing I need you guys to do is download a pocket query. Now I assume you guys know how to create pocket queries. If you don't, you need to be a premium member of geocaching.com to do so. I did an entire tutorial on how to do that. If you're not familiar with how to make a pocket query, head on over to my site and you'll see I have a video on how to create pocket queries. Go ahead, create a pocket query for whatever you want to put on your GPS, download it to your machine, and you can go ahead and open up that .gpx file in GSAC. Once you do that, next thing I need you guys to do is I need you to head over to geocaching.totaltechworld.com. And about halfway down the page, you're going to see this link that says Download Garmin Nuvi GSAC macro file. Go ahead, download that. Once you try to open up that file, it is going to ask you if you want to install it. You're going to say yes to that. The macro is then going to show up in your list of macros. Now here in a second we're actually going to run the macro, but before we do that I want to show you one more thing. Now if you're going to be running this macro all the time, putting geocaches on your Nuvi, one of the things I recommend is actually putting a button up here in the speed bar. Just a quick way to access it. So if you want to follow this step you can. It's an optional step but I'm going to show you it anyway. To put a button up there, what you're going to do is you're going to go to macro, edit configuration. You want to select any one of these empty buttons that you haven't named yet. I'm going to select this one, M3. You need to give the button itself a name. I'm just going to call it Nuvi. You then just need to give it a little hint. I'm going to do export Nuvi. The next thing it's going to ask you for is the macro file name location. Now depending on your computer it may have saved it to a different location. So I am going to navigate to the location it saved mine to right now. For me, it put it under users, and then the name of my folder is Tim, app data, roaming, GSAC, and then macros. Then I'm going to scroll down till I see Garmin Nuvi export gpx.gsk. I'm going to open, and then I'm going to click save. The next thing we're going to do is go up to macro, add button to toolbar. We're going to scroll down until we get to macros. We're going to take that button we just named and literally drag it up to the speed bar, put it where you want it, and let go, and that's it. Hit OK, and now we have a nice little shortcut up at the top on your speed bar on how to run that macro when we need it. Finally, we're going to run the macro, so let's go ahead and click on it. If this is the first time you've run this macro, it's going to ask you for the POI loader location, so we're going to click continue. It's going to ask us where the POI loader is located, so we're going to tell it its installation location. The default location is under Program Files, Garmin, POI Loader, and hit OK. This box up here is going to ask us where we actually want the GPX file it's going to create in a second saved. To make it easy, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to tell it I want it saved to my desktop, and I'm going to click OK. You also need to select the model of your Nuvi from this drop-down box up here. You can notice this also works with the Oregon and Colorado. I'm going to go ahead and select my Nuvi model. Now down here, this is probably my favorite feature of this macro. What it does is it is going to give us an alert whenever we go near a geocache while we're driving. It's actually going to give you an alert on your GPS. Now if you leave it blank, it's not going to give you an alert. You can also select in meters or feet how far away you want it to give you an alert. I'm going to go ahead and set it for 10 feet, so anytime I drive by a geocache, I'm within 10 feet of it, it's going to give me a little alert on my GPS and let me know. Once you get all that filled out, you can go ahead and click Start, and it is going to go ahead and create the GPX file that we're going to use here in a second to put on our Nuvi. Now, depending on how many geocaches you have, this may take a second or two. Once you get this dialog box, it lets you know that the export is done, and the next step is we're going to take that file and put it on our Nuvi. So click OK to this. You can go ahead and minimize GSAC, minimize anything else you have open, and we can go ahead and open up the POI loader that's installed on our machine. At this point, you can go ahead and plug in your Nuvi via USB cable to your computer. I'm going to open up your POI loader, hit Next. It's going to ask us where we want to save this to. We're going to say our Garmin device and hit Next. The next thing that pops up, you should see your device pop up in here automatically. If it doesn't, click Find Device. If for whatever reason that still isn't finding your Nuvi, reboot your computer, reboot your GPS, and if that still doesn't work, re-download the Garmin communicator from the Garmin site. Next thing I'm going to do is hit Next. It's going to ask us if we want to install POIs on our device or remove them. We're going to go ahead and click Install. It's going to ask us for where that file can be found. If you remember earlier, I saved that to my desktop, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to select my desktop, hit OK. It's going to ask you for a name for the file. I'm just going to call it Nuvi. Everything else here you could probably leave as default. Go ahead and hit Next, and it's going to go ahead and send the data over to the Nuvi. If everything worked correctly, all of your POI should now go over to the Nuvi, and we should be all set. So let's hop over to the Nuvi, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, now here we are at our Nuvi. First thing I want to show you guys is if you actually bring up the map, and you zoom out, you'll notice you see all the geocaches on the map. This is really cool. I really like this. You also see them as you drive, so it's really helpful as you drive around being able to see exactly where all the geocaches are. Now, to actually get to the geocaches individually, to get to the paperless data, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Where To. We're going to scroll down till we get to Extras, and in Extras you should have an option for custom POIs. Go ahead and select that. And then there's all your geocaches. And you'll notice that it's divided up into a couple different segments. The first segment is the beginning of the geocache name. The second is the type of the geocache. So TRA stands for traditional. You'll also see multi in there and any other cache types that you have selected. The next thing you'll either see a /N or a /Y. That means if you've already found the geocache or not. /Y means yes, you've already found it. /N means you have it. The next part, you're just going to see the beginning part of the GC code, and you'll also see it has the exact coordinates listed right below it. You can go ahead and select any of the caches. It's going to give you a little bit more information. We can also hit More here. And look at that, that's all of our paperless data. Gives you the descriptions, gives you the hints, also gives you the logs if anyone else has found it before. So this is really what makes, paperless caching on the Nuvi so excellent, is all that paperless data. You can also hit Go here, and it's going to give you step-by-step directions, voice audio prompts on how to get to the geocache. So I hope this is exactly what you guys were looking for. This is really helpful. Again, if you have any comments, you have any questions, head on over to my website, cachefreak.com. If you need anything, just leave me a comment in the comments section. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.